Uh, Okay, all right. We have Kathleen Walton with us. We have Mayor John Hawkinson with us. I'm Mary Jo Halliday. We have Chris Hansen with us, Ben Oseth, and Outlaws. Also with us, we have City Administrator filling in for Marissa, our as the Planning and Zoning Administrator. It's been determined there is a quorum present. We are all accounted for here and ready. Yes. Agenda approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to amend we need to amend
Need
it.
a second first.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Next is our consent agenda, and on it is the Planning Commission regular meeting minutes for February 15th.
And January.
And the January, what was that date? No, she didn't.
Oh, well then these will go on your agenda for next time. Cause you don't have them to review. That's fine. No rush.
Okay. If you've all have you had an opportunity to read the minutes, Planning Commission minutes from February 15th, or would you wish to have more time? If not, is there a motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes of February 15th?
I'll move. John? I'll second it. Chris.
There's been a motion by Hawkinson and a second by Hansen. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Can we have a little bit of discussion regarding the minutes?
Absolutely.
On the minutes here, it references Chairperson Mary Jo Halliday on here, and it should be noted that Mary Jo was not elected chair until later on in the meeting. So
Could you tell me where you are looking?
Yeah, where are you looking?
isn't that what the what you told us?
That one's for January 8th. I thought the January 8th
Pardon
minutes
me.
were also here. Sorry. Thank you for being on top of it.
I withhold my.
All right, discussion. Any other discussion on the February 15th commission minutes?
That she also.
If not, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes of February 15th unanimously pass. Number 4, discussion business items. The Bold School Olivia campus remodel. And joining us are
Amy Erickson and Nicole Allen. Thank you for waiting through our technical difficulties.
No worries. I'm glad we could get it figured out here.
You guys can take it away.
Good afternoon or evening, Planning Commission. Do you have the plans that we had sent into the city last week, or would you like us to share them? Or I'm not sure if you have physical handouts or if there's anything that you want me to share on the screen.
We have the physical handouts. If you'd like to share on the screen, you're also welcome to do so, just so everyone knows which.
Sure. Okay, I'll go ahead and attempt to share my, it says the host has disabled screen sharing for the attendees. I think it'll be simple enough for me to discuss through them.
Made you host.
You've made me host. Okay.
Which I should have made you co-host. So before you leave, we'll have to transfer host privileges again.
Okay.
I'm not used to the Zoom. I'm sorry.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we currently have on the screen here is the site plan of the Bold High School. Kind of the north end of the school is cut off, and as well as the south end of like the track and field is cut off. And what we've done is overlaid an aerial just to help aid in, kind of geolocating where exactly we are talking about on the site. So the first item that we want to discuss here is on the east side of the site, where the student and staff parking lot is. There's currently just one entrance and exit that serves that parking lot, and it is on the north side here, if you can see my mouse hovering. And so it does get congested there, where folks are trying to drop off and come in and out of that parking lot at prime times, in the morning and then in the evenings, or rather in the afternoon right after school ends. And so we're proposing to add in a 24-foot wide drive apron exit there just to the south. And this parking lot is actually really conveniently set up for this kind of looping motion. So it's set up very well already, where whomever is coming to drop off their students in the morning, or even pick them up in the afternoon, they come in the northern entrance, they travel west, and then they can do this drop off motion. So the students are already on the right side of the vehicle. They're able to exit and head into the main part of the building there, and the drivers are able to just continue this looping motion and exit throughout. It's my understanding that I don't think a whole lot of the drivers are going to be turning right onto 7th Street here. I think a majority of them would be continuing to go left, but with adding in this drive cut, we don't see any sort of danger to, really with any danger to the public, or adding this increased amount of traffic here. So that's the first item that we'd like to highlight here. And then heading over to the west side of the site, this is where the the buses drop off onto off of 9th Street South here. They drop off students and enter on the west side of the building. And so it's my understanding that this area gets congested with parents trying to drop off and buses trying to drop off, and it's not circulated extremely well. So the existing kind of entrance to this drop off loop is aligned with Chestnut Avenue, and we're proposing that drive entrance remain in place and be utilized for bus drop off. And what we are proposing here, I'll zoom in a little bit, is extending this drop off loop and cutting in a new one for parents exclusively to be able to swing in here and drop off. Same kind of philosophy there, where the students exit out of the right side of the vehicle. They get onto the adjacent sidewalk, and they're able to enter into either the like the early childhood area, or continue on to one of the main exits to the north there. This proposed drive aisle does not align with Chestnut Avenue nor Birch Avenue, but we feel that with the limited volume of traffic in this area of town, that it doesn't propose that much of a risk. I'll open it up to Nicole if she wants to expand on any of those comments anymore.
I'm good. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Will there be posted hours or a time frame as to when that comes in? Oftentimes there's a sign, school drop off 7:45 to 8:50, anything like that, posted hours.
Yes.
Additional police just in the area during those times.
Yep. Your last little bit of comment, I heard something about police. That part kind of cut off. I didn't hear that one quite, but yes, what you don't see on the plans yet, as we haven't quite finished the design and developed them all the way, is there will be additional signage. Instructing parents and whatnot to yield to the buses, having the times of when we would expect to actually see traffic through this loop, and so forth. Yes.
Are there currently, I apologize, Mayor, are there currently, school patrol out there?
I'm not aware of that. Nicole might have that information.
School
I am not
patrol
aware of
is
anything there.
normally, school patrol is normally, very effective in, stopping traffic when the kids are walking off sidewalks and, in that congested area. And I'm just wondering, or if there would be, school patrol during some of those times.
Feel like that's might have been suspended. I don't know if they still do school patrol.
They sure do at St. Mary's, and it's very effective. That's why I'm wondering if it's, something for consideration.
So that's certainly something on the school's consideration, if they would like to implement that service or that program. That falls a little out of the scope of the specific site map, what Bolton and Mink and the architects have been tasked to do. Because if the school patrol, I know at St. Mary's is with the students, right? They're older.
Correct.
students helping. So that would be a question for Mr. Menton. If they have something like that, and I can certainly reach out to him.
I would like that, request that, it certainly be looked into and, an option for safety.
Uh,
Mayor?
So are we reading it right that, and maybe this isn't our business, but the parent drop off and the school bus drop off are gonna be using the same exit onto the street? Am I reading that right?
Yes, that is correct. So the way that drop off loop currently stands is it is wide enough for essentially not two-way traffic, but two lanes of traffic traveling in the same direction. So the buses can be in the rightermost lane dropping off students, and parents can get over to the left lane and continue to bypass them.
Even more so, I feel so strongly about some type of school patrol because you have, you have normal vehicles at a height and you have school bus vehicles, side by side. And, to someone in addition to that, to be, overlooking and for additional safety, I think, especially when you've got, lower grades right there. And, when I worked with someone before as a parent dropping off, she said that drop off is a nightmare.
Yeah, I understand that one of the school's intent with this additional loop is to extend that queuing distance, which we've been able to see through many studies and many school projects that the extended queuing length does promote more safety. But yeah, I do understand that at peak times that these can be stressful areas, and that safety needs to be a priority.
Any further discussion? Thank you. Proceed.
Were there any other comments based on the site plan?
I don't believe so.
You make me host again, Damien? On Zoom?
Yes. Let me figure out how to do that.
Click on the three dots by my name, and there should be a drop down option that says make
legally in the
host.
state of Minnesota.
There you show. There you go. You should be able to.
Thank
You should be
you.
hosted.
When I get
Yep.
front, it has patrol.
It's a sidewalk, but
Um,
it's,
I mean, so also on the site plan was a couple of additions. So there was a proposed building addition. Did you want to talk about those a little bit, Damien?
Nope. So it's my understanding that the way that this project is phased, we're only seeking approval for the current phase of the project, which would be cutting in these two drive aisles, And at a later point, we would be seeking planning commission approval for the various building additions and so forth.
Cool. That makes this conversation a lot shorter.
Yes.
Anybody have any other questions for Damien and Nicole before we let them?
I have a comment maybe on Chestnut Avenue there, if kids are biking down that lane and going to the school easterly, might be worth considering adding a sidewalk from 9th to the bus loop area. That way they don't have to go around, in and around those exits. Just not sure where kids from the west are busing or how they're getting to the school, unless they're going all the way up to Pine, but
Yeah, we can absolutely explore that option. I know it's really tough to see on the aerial image, but across from Chestnut Avenue there is an existing sidewalk that would cross 9th Street, and so we really don't want to promote children crossing kind of halfway across that loop. But I think, yeah, either we'll continue to explore either adding a sidewalk along 9th Street to get children across safely, or require additional patrolling or raised crosswalks or some additional measure.
Damien, I guess I haven't looked specifically, what kind of, flashing lights are there, at Chestnut? Where, young, students would be coming down Chestnut and going across?
I'm not sure that there are any there currently. I'm not, based on the survey, I'm not familiar that there was any crossing lights picked up.
I know the city's been involved with,
Safe routes to school?
Safe Routes to School program. And so could this area be looked at for that?
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, potentially, right now we're on phase 2 of the Safe Routes to School, which involves the trail going from Bayberry Avenue, kind of hitting going up by the church, and then the crosswalk to 71. At this moment in time, I don't believe there's any plans to add any additional sidewalks on 9th Street. Is that what we're looking at as the city project? I don't know whether that's within the scope of this project or not. Ben, is that where you wanted sidewalks on 9th?
yeah, I'm actually looking at my phone now. I see there's one there. I just couldn't see it on the paper, but
If we could, just double check with, Kendra, our, engineers working on that, and have them take a look at, either the crossing at Pine or Chestnut.
For sidewalks?
Safe to school, whatever whether it's a flashing light during, times of drop off or pickup.
is that Chestnut and 9th? Isn't there a stop sign on the south side already? Yeah. Pine and 9th, it's 4 stops on all corners. Typically, you don't put flashing beacons necessarily if it's already a 4-stop condition like that.
Okay, what about Chestnut? That's 4-stop too?
Chestnut and 9th,
Yes.
9th, I believe, just that's 1 stop to the south.
So if, again, what you talked about was if you have kids bicycling in from Chestnut, just the most safe, situation, if you just have them take a look at that. Is that okay?
So I have confirmed with Mr. Menton, Bold does not currently have a school patrol, safety patrol like St. Mary's does. They do not have that type of program. He says they think they used to have it at Rhode Island Elementary, but it's not something that currently exists within the school programming. And I don't know if the city wants to establish the precedent of telling the school what type of programming they have to do. I understand safety is important, everything like that, but I'm also trying to make sure that we are within our spheres of jurisdiction.
So again, I would just like to reach out to our engineers who have worked on school safety and just get their opinion on what would be the safest conditions from Chestnut and Pine for the students.
Like, is there a crosswalk there?
South side of Chestnut there is.
If it's already covered, that's great.
And Damien, you are from Bolton and Mink Engineering, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And do you guys have any also experts on staff to look at, we can consult with SEH. I just want to make sure that they also have looked at the experts in their firm. But
In the school to safety.
in the schools.
Regulations.
Routes to school and school safety for that type of transportation planning.
Yes, absolutely. That's precisely the department that that I'm from and that we're proposing these improvements to the school.
Thank you. Appreciate that. If there's no further questions or discussion, please continue.
I didn't have any other comments or improvements to discuss for the Olivia project.
Other questions from a commission before I let them go?
Oh, not from these guys, just from the commission.
Okay. Well, then we will let you all go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to you on this project again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Are you all following within the zoning guidelines? These two improvements that they're looking for? Are we foreseeing any need for a variance or not?
Has Marissa brought anything to your
This has not
attention?
brought my attention.
Guess they seem like smart improvements.
Yep. Yes, they do. All right.
That makes sense to make another entrance there. For the student drop off, but
Yeah, there's the preschool there, so people
Yeah.
are parking halfway down the street to drop
Yeah.
them off already. So
yeah, I remember having to drop off my daughter there and it was like down the street or. But yeah, I mean, it looks like good improvement, especially because they're right there.
Okay. Are they looking for a motion on this particular site plan?
Approval of the site plan, yeah.
Just in that specific area at this time?
Yes, just so he mentioned the adding that kind of exit lane on the east side to that parking lot. And then this additional pull-out lane on the west. So those two major improvements.
So then one entrance would be coming in and the new one would be an exit. There'd be an entrance and an
Yes,
exit.
what he mentioned,
Yep.
it's on your plan, yeah, so currently you have entrance and then they would be adding an exit. Yep, and then extending the pull-out drop-off lane to add this.
Okay. On the,
just a note on this, I'll be abstaining from vote.
oh,
I worked on the survey for this project.
okay, awesome. Appreciate
Well,
that,
that's a
Ben.
good reason to then.
Can I ask you, as someone who's working on this, I didn't mean to be offensive, but I just think of children's safety and so, and I apologize because I am used to the school safety patrol and it just works so effectively and the older kids, interact with the young ones, and it's just it's a good nurturing, morning. Um, uh, it's, it just makes a parent feel really good, when you watch that kind of safety. So thank you for working on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we just did the survey, so we just collected what's out there for street and stuff like that, and then we're not involved on the design side at all, so.
Okay. Well, it looks like they've made several improvements and we certainly are appreciative of that. Any other questions before we ask for a motion on their site plan? Is there a motion
I'll make
to,
that motion.
motion by Catalina Walton? Is there a second? And a second by, Klaus to approve the remodel of the, west entrances, for, school drop off and buses, to their campus.
And west. They're adding that cutout to the east,
Yes,
so east and west.
okay. Okay. Um, first and a second, all those in favor of?
Right.
Those opposed? Approval of their east and west remodel is unanimous.
Great.
It looks like B is the City of Olivia Comprehensive Plan. How's it
Correct.
coming, Elizabeth?
It has been, pushed back a little bit further, the cited explanation is that there are a number of changes that have been requested. And so a February deadline kept getting pushed week by week by week. And I have been told we will receive it by Friday. So it will come, everybody knock on wood, cross your fingers. It'll come into your packets for your April.
Well, that means that there's a lot more interaction with it, which is what we want. And that's okay if Olivia's people extend the deadline. I think that's good.
Certainly a wonderfully optimistic way.
I know, right?
Every time silver lining. So yes, so I really hope that it's, we have it for your April consideration.
I'm trying to think positively too. And it'll certainly be, staff and the city council, in the end, of the document in which we receive, for references going forward on the work that's been, on the document that has been presented to us. So thank you for the update. Look forward to, I believe you said it's coming in a draft again, just so that we can take a peek or not?
It will be coming again, and then what I will be doing is I will be reviewing the final version with the edits that the city provided to him at the beginning of February that said, this is what we want changed. And I'll be ensuring that those changes happened. And if those changes were not accurately reflected, we will be ensuring that the changes that the city requested have been accurately reflected before it is brought to you for you all for your approval. So I will be reading the 158 pages again.
Memorized by now.
I did it in January. So I'll be reading that again to ensure, everything has all the people who have spent their time commenting on it, that those are accurately reflected and will report back. So.
We appreciate all the work that's
Mhm.
going into it. Look
thank you
forward
all
to
for
it.
Doing it.
So thank you so much for your update. If there's no further discussion or comments, we'll move on to C. The Planning Commission Organization and bylaws draft number 3.
So Marissa has been working hard on this document. It's on one of these, I see. To ensure that they have reflected, so, she made the changes to the alternate members that were discussed in the last meeting, which is section 2.1. So it talks about the planning commission shall consist of 6 appointed members, 1 alternate member, plus 1 member and 1 alternate from the city council. So there was that discussion about whether the alternate member could be a council member, and it cannot from here. We've also adjusted, she's also adjusted 4.3 on page 5. Which again talks about the order of succession. Alternate members shall be appointed by the city council in their annual resolution. The alternate member shall sit in place of any of the city council representatives. So that's the alternate city council member. And then the one discussion that we didn't have when discussing the bylaws was actually 5.3 later down on page 5. So right now you have it in your bylaws that the regular meetings of the planning commission shall be held on the second Monday of each month at 7:00 p.m. So this is, and as somebody who's been reviewing bylaws of every single committee commission, this puts you in a pretty tight box. I don't know if you want to be this specific in your bylaws that say we have, we will meet the second Monday at 7:00. Or if you would like to say, we will meet at least quarterly, we will meet at least 4 times a year, 2 times a year. And if you don't want to put an exact timing on it, perhaps 5:30, 6:00 works better for your commission. It's entirely up to you, but we hadn't yet discussed that portion of the bylaws. If you, as a commission, would like any flexibility there. Because it doesn't give you any right now.
But if there's nothing going on, we usually get an email saying nothing's on the boards.
Correct. So, I mean, that's
It
absolutely
doesn't mean
true.
we have to show up.
It doesn't mean you have to show up, but if you do want to change the meeting of a month, like you have to post a special notice. So if you want to change the time, you have to post a special notice, stuff like that. But you are locked in to your time slot of 7:00, so it doesn't really, again, there's just a lot of extra additional, not a lot, but a handful of extra additional hoops staff has to jump through if your meeting changes time or changes day.
So really it should read as like, the planning commission shall meet as needed. Each, or as needed at, an arranged time. Then you're kind of like, well, if we don't have to meet for 3 months, you don't meet, then it can be Monday, or it can be Thursday, it could be at 6:00, it could be at 7:30, whatever is needed for the
Yeah.
situation, I guess.
And if you guys want to right now, keep it at second Monday at 7:00, because that would work for you guys, great. But adding that flexibility into the bylaws gives you all in 2025 saying, our lives have changed, or the commission members have changed, they want a 6:00 meeting, or they are night owls, they want an 8:00 meeting because they do their best work when the sun has set. It allows you that flexibility. You don't agree with that, John?
Huh?
You don't agree?
I said vampires, but
There we go. So that's just something to consider. Again, if the majority of you say, we like the second Monday, we like 7, we can keep it in the bylaws.
Because then what happens? We have to pick a day and a time, or we just say open, or like.
Yeah, you can
Chris
just,
says,
like Chris says, you can meet as needed at an arranged time.
So April, we have to have a meeting, and then somebody's gonna send an email and say, we need a meeting on this day. What time is everybody available? Or are you still then telling us we need a meeting in April at this time?
So, I mean, you guys can decide. So if you have it in your bylaws that you meet as needed at an arranged time, that gives you a little flexibility. But you all can determine to say, hey, we want to, for this year, because we've posted your 2024 meeting dates, like that's part of your annual thing.
Mhm.
We're still gonna keep the second Mondays as needed. Again, you don't meet when there's nothing to consider. And we still like 7 o'clock, or this will give you all a chance to say, we wanna get here earlier, we wanna get here earlier. Did that answer your question or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Should read like time and date will be set according to need. Something like that instead of the way it's written, which kind of fits what Chris said.
again, it was just a discussion that staff had that we wanted to bring to you all for consideration. If you like how it reads, by all means keep it, but that gives you,
Otherwise, we need to have a motion to change that then.
yes. And I mean, we would change it and then bring it back to you in April
Oh,
for you to approve it all.
all right.
If that's the direction you want us to go, we can change it, suggest some wording, and then bring it back for you to give a thumbs up to in April.
I guess my opinion is that it probably should be changed so that it, reads as needed with a time to be established. Then like, so we can decide amongst ourselves, like, hey, that 7 o'clock on Mondays works fine for me. I don't have a problem with it, but that way, if somewhere in the future we need to meet on a different day, a different time, we're open to that, so.
Or like, I think summertime. Summertime, you wanna be out, not here. I mean, it's one day a month,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but if it just happens that it's that days of whatever is going on in your personal life is very important. And the, vote is very important, so your presence is important. So, I mean, I get that. Cause at that point, you can email the group and be like, I have this going on that,
Staff can email the group,
or,
open meeting line, you can't. email.
well, I'm sorry, I wouldn't know any of you. But you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
And back and forth.
Because like, for example, when we pushed the February meeting from a Monday to a Thursday, that was then considered a special meeting because we had to post notice that it's no longer on the second Monday, it was on a certain day, it was even at 6 o'clock, so it's at a special time. So we had to post different notices, staff, to let everybody know that there was this departure from your plans.
My goodness, we sound important.
So is that the direction then? We can adjust?
I'm for that, so.
I'm also for that. I think it makes more sense to do it that direction.
Mary Jo disagrees.
I just know there's a lot of advantage to the planning commission meeting between the council meeting times. It's how you follow the process when you're working with applicants. And then they go through that process. And if a recommendation comes forward, then it's followed up by a council meeting. That being said, it doesn't have to be Monday, or it doesn't have to be 7 PM.
You can still adopt, like, every year when you elect your positions, you can adopt a schedule just like the city council does every year. They announce in their annual resolution, our meetings are the first and third Wednesdays at 5:30. But by adopting it every year and kind of discussing amongst yourselves when that works, that gives you more flexibility than having it black and white in your bylaws, that the person in 5 years or 10 years, if they don't review their bylaws, are boxed into this moment. So we
That's
can
not
still
gonna
plan.
happen under Elizabeth.
I like reviewing things. But I understand, like, I appreciate, yes, the predictability, EDA has theirs the second and fourth Wednesdays at noon. But that specific time isn't necessarily black and white in their bylaws. That's just something that they establish as the.
Also, it makes sense for us to be between council meetings.
It has, because let's say you're working on plats with your engineers. Okay, when is the planning commission gonna meet so that they know how to schedule this process moving forward? I mean, there's a reason why you meet at certain times followed up by the council.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're necessarily eliminating that by changing the wording.
No.
We're just opening it up so that we can change the time or the
There's more
date
options.
in between if we so needed.
Yep.
Instead of having it locked in the way it is. We still could meet exactly the way we're doing
Mhm.
in between the council meeting as needed.
Especially if they need something
Correct.
from,
And as far as the 7 p.m., I know it's more convenient for staff to meet 5:36 so that their day isn't off at 5 and then to come back at 7 or
Right.
later again. It's worked really well. So I understand certainly. And we are this is the only committee that meets that late in the evening. So there's been
Elizabeth.
talk about that.
I had time to eat, then I came back, it's fine. I don't have a social life yet.
yeah, she says.
I have 2 little kids.
So I understand moving up the time. So,
But that would eliminate that option too, this by taking this out and writing it to open up the time we could meet at 4:30, 5:36, whatever we so choose.
yes,
And if Monday didn't work for some reason, we go to a Tuesday or a Wednesday that week, and we're still between the council meetings or whatever the case might be.
yes. Any other discussion? Or is anyone ready for a motion?
Do we, just have to direct staff to make those changes and then approve next month, or can we approve it now?
I'm happy to bring it back and we'll kind of adjust the wording for you all to approve in April. I don't think there's any absolute rush that you need to approve it tonight.
A whole year.
You won't either.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
A motion has been made by Walton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second has been made by Klaus. Any further discussion? All those in favor of?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Our fifth is our reports, from either the mayor or staff.
Jeepers, I guess I don't have a whole lot to report other than sure all of you guys have heard that both the school and the city have moved forward with their commitments to, financially support the Bold Community Pool. So that, we gathered a lot of feedback from the community. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, on that. Did a survey, did a couple open houses and gathered. I didn't personally receive a single piece of negative feedback on the concept, actually.
Leave the pool.
Right. So, yeah, that was, there was some suggestion on moving forward, how to maximize the pool's effectiveness on the community. And I'm really confident that we have some motivated, citizen leaders who are gonna move that forward and help the pool become what it can be. But it's really the big news, I think, from the city side.
I think the only negative along that line I heard was similar to what you just said. It was get it out there and open so we can get there and use it. So we know when it's open. It's not like they were against doing it. If they were, that was why they were.
Right. Yep. It's accurate.
Well, there's several interested parties and we're so appreciative of both the Bold School Board and the Olivia City Council and the support that has been given in the past and their decision to continue to keep it going forward. There's citizens willing to with ideas and there's volunteerism going on. There's just a lot of input, valuable input that we would like to give going forward, but we gotta kind of have an open door. One of the comments on the marketing, I've talked with Elizabeth about this. Not everyone knows that a coordinator, a pool coordinator is hired for 20 hours a week. And what they do within that 20 hours obviously is it is kind of is what it is, but is there some help on either the city and or the school side in marketing? I mean, I'm hoping that with both of these entities being involved, that the school would also do some marketing and the city would offer some marketing. That hasn't happened yet. I've had people come to me who say when they're looking online that the pool doesn't come up right away. They didn't even think that it would have to be under Parks and Recreation to go find pool. I mean, why is it so hard? That could be made a little more obvious to people. So I didn't want just the finger pointed at, and here's the deal. It doesn't matter what the marketing was. What we are is we're moving forward. And how can the school help and how can the city help in marketing all these ideas and notices of when the pool's open? How do we do that?
Believe Bold is redoing their website.
Well,
That
and
was-
again,
Theirs is not very good website.
okay, and the city too. Why is the pool hidden under something else? Can we make this as a little more obvious? And what can we do?
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly, I think that's a great point, and I think the JPA and needs to move forward with the pool committee. We can certainly work with the pool to figure out a better marketing strategy and a better outreach strategy. And I'm happy to sit down with Tracy. You're absolutely right. I don't know their full calendar of programming. That's not something that has ever been shared with me. Again, I came when it was closed. So I haven't seen a full list of programming, days that it's open, things like that. We do have a community calendar on the city's website. So it can be advertised on the calendar saying these are the days that the pool's open, these are the times. I know we have been working with Tracy to update the pool's page on our website. And she's been providing us with some information and stuff like that. So we have been on top of that. We are in the beginning processes of also, we are not alone in having the school is not alone in having a hard website to navigate, and we're also taking steps to address that on our end as well.
The limited times that the pool is open here and there, how can we now, again, moving forward, how can we establish those hours? The problem now is the pool's been closed for 53 weeks.
Yep.
There aren't very many lifeguards available. And I don't know how many of you know it, but a lifeguard cannot be in that pool facility alone if they're less than 18 years old. So that limits 5 or 6 lifeguards it's wonderful to have them, but unless you have an adult in the facility as well, it can't be open. So there've been a lot of limitations. We want to work at getting more individuals trained. There are a lot of former lifeguards, now adults. I hear some morning lap swimmers that said We may as well go back and get our WSI. We're willing to do that. We just need to get that word out. We've had a part-time pool coordinator trying to run it. And we can complain about whether it's open or not. But we have to, we have to provide some of this. A 20-hour per week pool coordinator cannot keep that pool open to the public like everyone wants it to be. We can't offer Saturday, Sunday swimming, give swimming lessons during the week with the limited sources that we have.
Yeah.
And we want to do this as soon as someone gives us some direction or our input is allowed at the joint powers. Right now, there's just nothing happening.
Do you know when the pool coordinator plans to call another meeting of the JPA to address some of these issues?
Is she the only one that does? Or does Landon?
As far as I have been here, it's always been at the discretion of the pool coordinator.
Yeah.
But I can certainly follow up on that to see when Landon might be available as chair to possibly call a meeting.
That would be wonderful. I'm going to reach out to him too. Thank you for mentioning that. Of
Easy.
course he is. And I look forward to doing so. And like, again, in our input and in our volunteerism and getting the word out of the numerous activities or open access to the pool that we can get. I mean, this is the perfect time of year to get all of this going. We have everyone looking for swimming lessons right now, trying to get lined up. This is going to be the season. We've seen by the open swim on Sundays, we were at 72, 59. All 3 Sundays have been really good attendance. And the only way to keep that is by keeping it open. And of course, we have to keep it staffed. And all those things aren't easy.
I guess you gotta look at it the way you stated earlier, though. We're at point A, we gotta move forward.
Yeah.
So we can't look at, and
Oh.
what steps if we need lifeguards, well, maybe obviously that's probably your first step is
Mhm.
you have to have somebody there. How you do that, and then your steps go from there, what more programming can we have? But it can't be open without a lifeguard.
Can't be open without a lifeguard, can't be open without someone 18 years
Yep.
older in there.
They have to be in the pool, or could like an
They-
adult be part of the registration?
Yes, in the facility. Yep. And that's kind of what we're doing now, helping with the swimming lessons and such. So, we're just,
It's awesome to be super motivated about this and do the brainstorming and things like that. And just on the back of our minds, we also, and I'm not saying to slow down at all, heck no, go forward, but finding lifeguards is gonna take some time and we just need to understand that as well, it's gonna be a big challenge, but doesn't mean we don't need to go full steam ahead towards it, but.
Is that position like a paid position or?
Yeah.
the pool court, the lifeguards too. Yes, they get
And
paid.
who decides like for the coordinator, how many hours they work?
That has been in effect for,
That's part of the employment agreement.
yeah.
When the job description was posted and the employment contract that's currently signed, those were the parameters of
What
the
year was that?
description.
It was only like
Grace
5
was
years
hired
ago,
in 2016. So
8 years ago.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff has changed since then. It's probably like a review.
The other thing we'd like to do, and I'll certainly speak to Landon about this, is there's room for more open dialogue, conversation. People willing to give concessions was Elizabeth's words. There, again, what kind of communication there is currently to, the open dialogue, and better communications that we can have going forward. We're just, we're not gonna get anywhere if we, don't have people that can talk. And we're a little limited right now. And we're not proud of it.
Now's the time to talk.
And, I think I've said enough. I will contact, Landon Patterness and see if he has,
Insight on the next JPA meeting.
there you go. And if if some interested volunteers of the swimming pool are welcome.
I do have one other staff report on a completely different topic. So city council awarded, Widseth, which is an architectural firm, the architectural services, for the City Hall Public Safety Project. So they have had their kickoff meeting with Marcus Construction. They plan to come visit Olivia probably within the next couple of weeks. They're actually on the agenda for the city council meeting on March 18th. To provide them with some additional information about some alternate HVAC study that has been requested to be looked into. Along with this project moving forward is also a utility relocation. So if you walk around the site, you'll see that there are a lot of poles that can't be there because they're gonna be in the middle of the police shop. So we had our first utility relocation meeting this last Friday to get all of the utilities on board, with some discussion about what needs to be relocated, what needs to be buried, and the expansion of that project. So that is something that, the very ambitious timeline Marcus Construction has set is that construction begins in early June. And so we're hoping to have things buried at least within this, our site map area by June. That's where we are with that project, and we'll continue to keep you all updated.
Is there anything happening with this site yet that the planning commission will be looking at? The vacations?
I'm still waiting to hear back from Olivia Ambulance and Mr. Wordish on our offer with a follow-up to them both this week. I thought my last discussion with Olivia Ambulance went well, so I was hopeful that their board gave us a thumbs up. And then Mr. Wordish has concerns about his garage and accessing his garage. So I discussed that we'd be willing to kind of chalk out the exact location so that he can see exactly that he will still have access to the garage and stuff.
I understand him. We did that already, but I understand. That's okay. As many times as it takes.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So, that's kind of where we are at with that process.
Okay.
And I will say, just as a future project, the park board, met this month. Ben, you were there, right?
I was out of town.
And they are looking at, some improvements to Dowling Square. So, there are some drainage issues, so, our engineer has been working on a plan to kind of fix those drainage issues. Especially with a new owner in that site. We want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the downtown community to prevent any water issues. So we're looking into that. We've gotten some bids on what that project might entail. Also trying to add some greenery back downtown.
Sounds wonderful.
I can't be known just for cutting down trees.
Oh, there's some big ones.
That's all the staff reports I believe I have.
Anything else, commissioners? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second, yeah.
Motion by Hanson,
That's always
second
good.
by Hawkinson. All those in favor?
Oh.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. At the end, but I can't remember what it
Do you
was.
find it awkward?
Certainly.
Elizabeth, are we still looking for a member? I'm forgetting.
It's just like.